the one. In this episode, we plan on bringing you some of the best material there is. Definitely didn't steal this from Josh Payne. Definitely didn't steal this from any other YouTube channel. Purely us. No one else is covering this stuff. Starting with college football 25. I know, no one else is covering it right now. It's like the hottest topic. We got them all. We're going to tell you what's wrong with it and how this game went from being amazing to possibly garbage while Kieran's screen tweaks out. We are then going to follow it up by giving you some of our. We're going to do a start bench cut, and we already picked the positions. We'll give them to you whenever we get there. But yes, we have positions, and they're two. We're doing two each, so I'll do two positions to give to Kieran. He'll give me two. That's what we're going to do. And lastly, we're going to give it, of course, the bold prediction, which everyone knows is our favorite segment because the winner, or I guess the winner wins and the loser loses. The loser has to do a forfeit. Anyways, let's get into it. So we were discussing about college football 25, and we started looking at each team overall based off of offense and defense. And we've come up with some of the teams that we thought kind of got a little blessed and some of the teams that got overlooked. Starting it off with top offensive. So just to give you all the top five, it's Georgia, Oregon, Bama, Texas, Ohio State. We think out of those five, three of them are incorrect. And you won't guess, but of course it's the two teams that we both love are the two teams that we think are perfectly rated. The other three teams, one of them's going up, two of them are going down. Starting with number two overall, Oregon at a 94. Kieran, why should they go down? Is what we decided. Why?
I just don't think that Oregon has fully proved themselves. Just in terms of certainly when you look at the whole team, they're one of the most consistent teams across all position groups. But when you break it down and get into their offense, they have a new quarterback, which I think is always points off. I do not care how talented Dylan Gabriel is. It's always going to be points off because he doesn't know the system as well as Quinn Ewers does, who's that's his third year at Texas, or as Carson Beck does, or as someone like that who's already been in the system and has already been getting that work in and knows how the guys function and knows all of that. They do have some good returning receiver production, but their O line is a little bit of a question for me. I think they've got some holes there. Um, it was solid last year, but not great. Uh, did not win the accolades that you would expect from a Dan Lanning O line, and I think that's still a concern for them. And I also have some issues at running back. I don't see a real headliner that is going to take over the game yet. And certainly in preseason rankings, it's about that talent composite. It's about how good the team breaks down to being. So that's why I would say that Oregon needs to drop a little bit.
Yeah, and the reason I would say Oregon needs a drop is because I think this game is. I think a lot of the overall is based off of your quarterback. And don't get me wrong, Dylan Gabriel, Dante Moore, both are really, really solid quarterbacks. Uh, Probably some of the most highly touted out of all of them. But you have to think of it this way. Kieran said this at the beginning. It's all based off of like how well do you know the system. How are you really going to thrive if you only transferred in less than 6 months ago? So it's all speculation. It's like Carson Beck, he sat behind Stetson Bennett. He's learned the playbook. Same with Quinn Ewers. He's been there for 3 years now, and we've seen his success. We have not seen any success yet from both Dante Moore and Dylan Gabriel at Oregon. Of course, we've seen them both like thrive at UCLA and at Oklahoma, but we haven't really seen them gel with their new receivers, with their new playbook, with an entirely new system. And so I would say for that reason, if you're going to say the quarterback is so highly rated, I feel like you're just going off of his skills and not the entire team. And so if you would say Carson Beck, yeah, he's the best quarterback. He's a 96. But what if Carson Beck goes and plays for Kent State? Is he still a 96 overall? Or are we saying that he is a 96, but the entire team is like a 60 and they bring him down? So I think this game is basing it solely too much on the actual quarterback, and it needs to spread it around more. Say like, hey, so and so has like let's see if I can find a good example. Uh, A&M, I guess you could say. A&M, you could say that they have better wide receivers than they do as a quarterback instead of that guy with the long name for his name. But you could say you have a better wide receiver core. Same thing with Michigan. Michigan, you could say you have a better wide receivers than you do at your quarterback position, and then if you go off of skill. But if we look at it, Michigan is almost nowhere to be found on the top offenses. I actually take it back; they are literally not on the list for top 25. So that just tells you how important a quarterback is at the position. Okay, moving on. I know that was a lot. We're gonna talk about top defenses. Sorry guys, I'm coming down with a little allergies. Yep. Anyways, we picked three teams that we think need to go up or down, and these three teams were the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, the Clemson Tigers, and then the Wolverines. So they actually go in that order. So to start, Alabama is ranked at 90, Clemson is also ranked 90, and Michigan is also ranked at 90. I don't know why they said they go in that order, but that's how EA put them in the system. Anyways, let's get straight into it. So, Karen, why do we believe that Alabama deserves to be the team that goes up?
I think Alabama, they just always produce a really solid team, and I think that's really important to consider. Um, and it's really they don't have a whole lot of big names, and they've lost production, so clearly they shouldn't be at the very top. But I think they deserve to be separated from Clemson, who has also lost production and lost starters. And that's why I really think that Alabama should certainly be ranked ahead of Clemson.
My
But
bad. I thought you were going to add on to that.
yeah, so I
Um,
really think they should be ranked ahead of Clemson. And Clemson's a drop because they've lost. They've really kind of lost a lot. Um, and while Alabama doesn't have any stars on defense, certainly, or doesn't have any proven stars right now that most of us are aware of, Clemson has struggled more, and they haven't been able to prove it on the field at all last year. So it really seems like that Alabama is the solid choice to go ahead of them, and Clemson needs a drop. Now, the
yeah,
real team that got messed with here is Michigan, and I'll talk about that in a second.
yeah, and just so Karen can get to that Michigan thing because I know he loves them. Uh, Real fast, just covering Alabama, Clemson. Okay, so Bama, it's almost fundamental. They breed defensive talent. Dallas Turner, Will Anderson Jr. You can go even farther back and say, and I don't. Did Ndamukong Suh come out of Alabama? I think he might have come out of somewhere else, but you can go all the way back and look at all the players that they have produced. Trayvon Diggs, just to name a couple, and you can just say like, look, even though Nick Saban might be gone, I feel like that culture in that locker room is still there. That winning mentality, that the same idea and same ways of bringing up talent to what they need to be. And so just put them at a 90 almost feels kind of disrespectful after they kind of held, like, they were holding their own against Georgia's offense last year. Of course, it got shaky with, like, South Florida, USF, but we don't talk about that. That was a fluke. But you have to look at a team that, like, really turned things around, really played their hearts out in every single game, and I think they're still one of the most feared defenses like ever. Like it doesn't matter if you could be the best team, but when you know you're going against Alabama, you feel that defensive presence. They'll blitz, they'll sack you, they'll go after you, they'll hit you hard, they'll hit you harder than you ever been hit. It's almost like that mentality. So I think that Alabama needs to go up. Clemson needs to go down because Clemson's on a downhill slope right now. Ever since really,
The
I want to
transfer
say
portal?
transfer portal,
The transfer portal. The transfer portal.
Trevor Lawrence, like ever since they lost him, I feel like the entire team has just gone downhill. I feel like Dabo Sweeney, again, we've said this so many times, is stuck in his ways. He doesn't believe in the transfer portal, and neither does it clearly believe in him because he doesn't pick up anybody, and his team just gets worse and worse every year because he's just going on sheer talent that he brings in. And so for his defense to be a 90, I feel like that's almost sugarcoating it because we haven't really seen that much from his defense. And if you're going straight off of recruiting because you have nothing else to go off of course, there's no transfer portal, then you're really playing a dangerous game, especially when they couldn't hold their own against like Florida State. So yeah, Kieran, let's get into the Wolverines. So why are they ranked so low at a 90?
So the Wolverines are flat out the best defense in the country. Maybe you could fight with me about Ohio State, but I think the Wolverines are a fundamentally more solid group. You have Rod Moore returning at safety. You have Will Johnson, the best cornerback in the nation, returning at corner, obviously. Um, and then you've also got a wealth of talent along the defensive line, um, particularly in the interior, but also at edge rusher. You have a solid core of linebackers coming back. And I mean, overall, you saw what Michigan's defense did last year. You saw how versatile they were, how well everything just clicked, right? It was poetry in motion. They could call any play, any front they wanted, and it just happened. And they just chewed up offenses. And I know this isn't last year, and I know they lost a couple of pieces, but they didn't lose that much. And what they have lost, they will be able to replace because a lot of those guys that turned out to be stars for them last year came out of nowhere. Like you didn't know Mike Sainer still if you weren't a Michigan fan before the start of the year, but he won. He really, honestly, played a huge role in them winning the national championship. He made the difference. You didn't know a lot of these stars on defense, but now that the team has evolved, you're going to discount them and say that they can't get back to that top step because they don't necessarily have the name notoriety that other teams do. I think that's a mistake, and I think Michigan should be ranked the second best defense in college football.
Yeah. And just to add on to that real fast, let's take into consideration some of the big guys. Will Johnson, like we've mentioned, he is the best quarterback in the nation. I think it's almost like I'm talking UFC here, pound for pound. It doesn't matter who he lines up against. It could be a tight end, it could be a linebacker, it could be linebacker. It could be a tight end, it could be a wide receiver, it could be a running back, and it's clamps all day. Um, I mean, there's no really stopping him, and I'm honestly hoping that he's probably going to be one of the highest rated players in NCAA 25. But of course, we'll see that whenever they come out with the official player rankings. Anyways, the other one I have to talk about is the sophomore defensive line that they have. Okay, so we're talking about the group, the trio, I would say, of Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and Derek Moore. They are so potent when it comes to the run game because they are stuffing you in the backfield, like no matter what. And Kieran said it. They are able to switch up formations. They're smart players. They're intellectual. They know what to do, what gap to fill, where to go to literally cause the most havoc. And again, these are only sophomores. So that means on a good chance, one of them might get drafted next year. One or two might get drafted next year, but that means you still have a guaranteed year or possibly 2 years with these players. Alrighty, so I know we went on a rant right there about NCAA 25. Please, Madden, if you're listening, we would love a copy for free. We would love sponsorship. We don't hate your game. We love it. We love it so much. We're
We
just
just
telling
hate
you the
your
truth.
rankings, yeah.
Yeah, we think your ratings were a little bit biased towards certain teams, Colorado, and what? Okay, moving on. We're getting into what we called the Spino Wheelo start bench cut. Yeah, we basically spun a wheel prior to this episode even airing, and we both chose two positions, of course, from the wheel. We had to research those positions, basically find out who we want to be start bench cut, and now we're going to ask the opposing person who would you start, who would you bench, and who would you cut, and we're going to do the same thing on our side. I just want to see how
Opposing? Hold on. We are not
opposing,
opposing person. We're not trying to make each other look silly at all. I hope you understand this.
but that's what's going to
But
end up happening.
okay, whatever. All
Okay,
right.
so I'll start it off. So Kieran, I was given, according to the wheel, I was given offensive guards. So this is our interior offensive lineman. The three I have chose for you are Tate Ratledge, Jaden Roberts, and Cooper Beebe. Who is your start? Who is the bench? And who is the cut?
Oh, this is a hard choice. Um, I've enjoyed actually watching both Ratledge and Beebe, but I think just on experience and just on being able to I really like the way he's able to move and able to change the angles of blocks and get out there and meet defenders. And he's also a great blocker in space. So I think I've got to go with Cooper Beebe for start. Bench would be Ratcliffe, and then cut is the third guy that you say.
Jaden Roberts. I totally
Jaden
agree.
Roberts.
I think Cooper Beebe is probably one of the most dominant offensive guards. I think he can pull, he can literally do anything you ask of him, and he is, like you said, so good in open space. Tate Ratledge, Georgia boy, he's just I think he's just well rounded. I think he's going to be a great for our offense come next year, come when it comes to blocking for Carson Beck. And lastly, Jaden Roberts. I don't know where I found him. I think he plays for Ohio State. Don't hold me to that. I don't remember.
I don't
But
know
we don't
either.
need to know him. Regardless, he is the cut. And that was my one. Okay, Kieran, give me one.
All right. So we're gonna just move one position out on the offensive line. Got my trusty paper here. Can never go wrong. All right. So we're gonna talk about offensive tackles. I said move out, not in. First tackle, we got Will Campbell.
Okay.
We got Caden Proctor,
Kane Proctor. Okay.
and we got Kelton Banks.
Okay. Kelton Banks plays for UT.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, I think I'm going to start with Will Campbell. There are many reasons for this. A, he plays in the SEC. I know that's not really a reason, but I think he is probably one of the best returning guards. And they're going to help. They're going to boost. He's going to boost LSU's offensive tackle position so well. I think he's an anchor. And you got to think about it. He's playing in the SEC. He's playing against some of the best defensive ends in the nation. And so the fact that he's so quick on his feet, he's so elusive for exactly his position that he won't even allow a single snap. I'm pretty sure he played so I think 800 plus games last or over his career, and he hasn't allowed one single sack to happen right now. He's going to be my number one. So we're gonna start with him. Then I'm gonna get controversial here. I'm gonna go with benching Kelvin Banks. So he is kind of the same as Will Campbell. He's started for the last two seasons with Texas. Um, I think he's only surrendered. He's only like given the quarterback pressure twice in his career. He's an amazing pass blocker. He does everything you want him to do, and especially I'm pretty sure he plays on the blind side of Quinn Ewers, and that is exactly where you want. You want someone you can trust fully. You want someone you know is going to be there for the block, and I think that's him. And then I know Caden Proctor is really good, but I think I'm going to have to cut him. So there's my start. There's my bench. And there's my cut.
All right.
Would you agree?
Yes, I would switch Calvin Banks or Will Campbell, just because Banks has more size than Campbell does, and I think that in the long term will make a better tackle. Banks is also very long, and I would say he's overall more well rounded and does better in the run game.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm up again. So the other one Kieran got is he got running backs. Kieran is going to probably play running back. Interesting
That's
fact.
loud.
Anyways, your three running backs are Omarion Hampton from UNC, Donovan Edwards, the cover athlete from Michigan, and Taj Brooks from your in-state rival Texas Tech. No longer because you will never play them again. Anyways, Kieran, start, bench, cut.
Golly, why do you do this to me? Um, so my heart tells me to go with Taj Brooks, and my brain tells me to go with Donovan Edwards. So I think Donovan Edwards is probably the better back when it comes to athleticism, but I think Taj Brooks is much more of a freak athlete. And but I think overall Donovan Brooks is a better receiving threat. Or Donovan Edwards, my bad. What am I doing? Donovan Edwards. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Donovan Edwards. Start Taj Brooks. He's gonna sit on the bench, and your friendly UNC running back, his Tar Heels are gonna have to walk out of my stadium.
Wow. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That is literally almost the opposite of what I had. I had Omarion Hampton starting from UNC. I had Taj Brooks backing him up, and I had Donovan Edwards getting his ass out of here. Okay, Omarion Hampton. The only reason I said this is because he is a sophomore only. He had over 1,072 yards. Trust me, I definitely didn't Google this prior to us recording this video. And after contact, I'm pretty sure he had 1,500 yards. So
What?
that just means he's a monster. Yeah, meaning in total, in total.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you can say he had 300 yards after contact. Um, the reason I would say he's so good, and the reason I would say I want him starting, is because he's one of the guys you can rely on. He's a workhorse. He had 15 touchdowns last season. You know he's going to be good for your team. You know he's very elusive for his position, and I feel like he's almost like an Ollie Gordon. Like he might play in a weaker conference, but he's still an outstanding talent. Then Taj Brooks, same thing, Texas Tech. He is. I think he's more on the elusive sides too. I think he's just a great running back for his position. He clearly showed us what he can do against Texas. I think that's where my brain just headed. I just went over like where have I seen him? He averages so many like yards. I don't really know. I don't have that much to talk about besides the fact that he's like I think he's 230. He's just a bulk guy and he can put up numbers. I've seen him put 150 yards up on games, 149, 170 yards. He's a monster. Donovan Edwards, lastly, he had two crucial touchdowns in the playoffs. Pretty sure back to back almost, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost.
back to back. Yeah, he's a monster. I'm not gonna lie. Broke two touchdowns, took him to the house. But I feel like there's more to be desired. I feel like he doesn't have the speed almost. I think they're like killing him with the speed. I honestly think so. I think he was talking about this in an interview about how Madden disrespected his speed, but Madden has to get their data from somewhere. So I think his speed's not there. Even though again we saw him break for 2 touchdowns for like over 100 yards. So yeah, that might be questionable. But also I don't think he's a good receiving back. I feel like he's more power inducive. This is just personal ideas. I don't think he's gonna be great in the receiving core. I think they're gonna have to rely more on him on the run game. But I think again he's one of the solid running backs. I'd put him at my cut, sadly. Sorry to whoever's on the cover athlete. Anyways, Kieran, hit me with your last.
All right, so I have safeties. And in safeties, I have Shiloh Sanders,
My goat.
Keon Sab,
My goat.
and Andrew Bakuba.
Okay.
Where are you at, buddy?
Can you tell me them again?
Shiloh Sanders,
Shiloh the goat. Okay.
Baby Primetime, as they call him. No one calls him that. Don't call him that. Don't start that. Keon Sab and Andrew Bakuba.
Shoot. You got me with a couple good players. Okay. I'm going to start Andrew Nakumba. Is that his name?
Bakuba.
How do you spell that?
You've played against his brother.
Oh, who?
Yes, you have.
Who? Dicky?
No, Fatu. LBJ.
Oh, him?
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay, I take it back. Then. I take it back. I'm
Oh,
toxic.
how unprofessional. I deeply
Okay.
apologize.
Yeah, I started cheering Xavier. Okay. So I'm gonna start off with the Alabama legend right now. The GOAT. I'm gonna go with Bank or Keon Sapp. I don't know why the hell I said Bank. Keon Sapp. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Keon Sapp, I'm gonna start. The reason I'm gonna start Keon Sapp mainly is because he's a transfer, lots of experience. He knows how to win a champion. Um, and I don't know. I would just say I think he is so physical. He's a physical safety for his position. I think he's a ball hawk too because he gets to the receivers, and he reminds me of like a young Ed Reed because he seems like he's so like strategic. He has such a high football IQ because he picks like where he wants to go and who he wants to tackle, what pursuit angle, all of it. I think he's just a really strategic player, and he's going to Bama. Yeah, that's not much to say. He went from Michigan to Bama. I feel like that was almost just so he could get away because I don't know if Caleb Downs said he was going to join prior to, but it was almost like a switch. Um, anyways, moving on. I don't have that much to say about him, but next I'm going to go with Andrew Makuba. Makuba. He's your boy, but actually, I'm pretty sure you already knew this, but I don't know if the fans at home knew. He's a transfer from Clemson. I don't know why I kept hearing Xavier. Okay. Anyways, I think he's just a outstanding talent. He is so good when he's healthy, and I think he will have probably the fastest 40 come his time. He has elite like the dude is fast. One of the fastest guys. And talk about his brother. We played his brother. His brother's fast too. His brother likes to score touchdowns, and this guy likes to stop touchdowns. I take it back. I say he is probably the most ball hawk out of them. He's an outstanding defender, and I think he's going to do big things. I knew Kieran was going to put him in here. Well, I didn't, but Kieran put him in here, of course, Texas. But I think he's going to be great. Elite speed, elite talent. He'll be great. And then lastly, I have Baby Primetime. Baby Primetime is like the biggest whiff I've ever seen, if that makes sense. And no shade, but what I mean is like Shiloh Sanders, I feel like all of his hits are always this massive like boom stick, like the guy goes flying backwards, and then every other time he misses the tackle. He whiffs. He takes the wrong angle. He makes the wrong move, and it's like, why did you do that? He doesn't play the right coverage. He goes and fall. He goes on his own, and he doesn't pay attention. What are you doing? I don't think he's as fast. I think he's not as smart as Banks or Sap. I'm tweaking. I'm tweaking right now. I'm tweaking. Not as smart as Sap. Not as fast as Makuba. And that's honestly where I'm at right now. I feel like as a safety, you have to either have elite speed, elite strength, or you got to know exactly what's going on. You're the safety. You're almost like the captain of the team. You're the quarterback of the defense. Um, and some will say it's the middle linebacker, but I'm gonna stick with safety. But anyways, that's my ranking. Might have been a little controversial, but Shiloh, baby, going to the bottom. Xavier Banks going fourth because I don't know who the Keon Tap going first, and
Who
Andrew.
is Xavier Banks, bro?
I
Who is
honestly,
Xavier
I'm gonna look
Banks?
him up afterwards. Keon Sapp, Andrew Makuba, baby primetime. Final ranking. Cut. Start bench cut. Guy.
All right, I agree with you. So now we transition to a little thing we're gonna see. Kirtan cannot talk about safeties. We've proved this. He can't.
Yeah.
But he has been historically pretty good at making bold predictions. Kirtan, what do you got for us?
Okay. You're gonna put me on the spot here. I'm gonna say that. Ooh. Okay. So this one I'm gonna go different. I'm not gonna go college football wise, but I'm gonna go a little bit. Well, meaning it is college football, but I'm gonna go in the realm of the draft. And so this is gonna be a late one. Or I don't know if this will
Wait.
work. Do you want to do the? Yeah, you want to do this late or no?
I mean, you can, but you're not gonna get that point.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna do that. Okay. Well, that throws my strategy out the window because I was going to say that I think Quinn Ewers will drop out of the first round of the draft. I think he'll fall out. But now you're gonna put me on the spot. So let's see here. I don't know about that matchup. Okay, I think that Texas, or I'll think about it. I'll go harder one. I say Florida. So we all know Florida has no win November. We've trademarked that. Please, no one else steal that. That is ours. No win November. I honestly say they break even during no win November. I don't think they'll be Georgia. I don't think they'll be Texas. Ole Miss will lose to Florida. And I don't know who else plays Florida during no win November. I know it's Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia,
I
and
think it's Tennessee. Let me.
Tennessee. All Florida will go dead even. Florida will beat Ole Miss and they will beat Tennessee. Let me make sure of that. Let's see.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm on it. Let me. Um. No, it's Missouri. So
Yeah, then I stick by it. I stick by it. I say
believe. Hold on. What? No, hold up. My bad. That was this year. I don't know what is going on.
I
Okay,
think
yes.
it's LSU.
So they played Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, and Mississippi State.
They play Mississippi State.
Wait, no, that's in the wrong. Oh my lord.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
It's Georgia
Say
first
it again.
on November 2nd, LSU November 16th, Florida State November 30th, Texas November 9th, and Florida Ole Miss November 23rd. I know that wasn't in order, but those are your 5 games. I say they will go. Okay, now I didn't realize there was 5.
So did they
I'm
win
gonna say
2 or did they win 3, Kirtan?
they win 3.
They win 3.
They
All right.
beat LSU, they beat Ole Miss, and they beat Florida State.
Now I want to be clear. Say they beat Ole Miss and LSU, lose to Florida State, but beat Georgia. Does your prediction, is it still valid or is it only valid if they lose to those three?
Okay, I'll rephrase it. They will have a winning record in November.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good enough. Moving on. So
Kieran, let's
now
hear it.
I must make a bold prediction. And we're going to hop in the car to take a Beyond the Snap road trip south. All the way down the Florida Turnpike, paying $50 million in tolls as we go there. You can wave across the Gulf of Mexico to Kirtan in Mexico. And you can take a pit stop in Miami. Maybe go to the beach, and then you're going to win the ACC. Because my prediction is that Miami wins the ACC, gets a top spot in the playoff, and yeah, they win the ACC.
They win the ACC.
Yes.
Okay, so we're saying that you're saying who are the favorites right now? Clemson and Florida State.
Yes.
Okay, so we're saying okay. I'll accept it. I'll accept it. That one's a little iffy because we know Miami's gonna be good.
Okay, Miami wins the ACC and a playoff game.
Okay. Well, how about this? I'll meet you in the middle. How high of a seed will they be?
Golly. Okay, so
They win the ACC and they get
Third.
put
third
at
seed.
what?
Third.
They're gonna be number 3
Wait, hold up.
in the country.
Yeah, because it's top 5. Yeah, they'll be third.
Okay. I say okay. I think the first half of your thing will be or has a chance. I don't think they'll be third. I think they'll probably be Georgia, some form of Georgia, Ohio State, Texas. They'll be like
So I don't know. The conference champions get the top seeds automatically. It's auto
Yeah.
bid.
Oh, they get okay. So then it'll be
So Florida State. I'm just saying they're better than the Big 12 team that wins.
okay. That's fair. That
Unless
works.
the playoff committee decides to cook up something.
Who are the 5? You got SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, and who?
Group of 5.
Group of 5 gets an automatic spot.
Yep.
That's fair. I'll give
We've
it to you.
talked about how sketchy this playoff is before, Kieran.
Yeah, this is about to be hella sketchy. Okay, well, I'll give it to you. Anyways, that has been Beyond the Snap, 32-minute video. Hope y'all enjoyed. A little bit shorter than usual. That's because
Podcast. Come on.
video, podcast, live stream, whatever you guys want. We're live. We're talking live. Anyways, please go watch this video. Go watch the others. We promise we're going to start mass spreading as many videos as we can get. I'm going to get you some of my personal vids. Kieran, whenever he gets to his, he'll get to his. He's putting in all the TikToks, all the little short videos. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. That's it for me. Kieran, anything else to add?
Nope, but you will be stuck with Kirtan alone for the next 2 weeks because I will be gone on an adventure into the fairyland known as Canada.
And I will try to do I will do a live stream next Sunday when I get the chance, but expect a lot of personal vids. I'm not trying to do a 33-minute live stream by myself, just sitting here talking.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
But we'll get it to you. Alrighty. Peace.
Peace.